Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Divorce Unplugged podcast. Today, we are doing a bit of a special episode. Wanted to share with everyone that we held last week's episode because we had a national tragedy. And out of respect for that tragedy, we didn't feel like it was in the best interest of everyone to publish. So, I am your co-host, Nicole Cox, known on socials as the Family Law Liaison.
I'm Keegan Burke on socials, Divorceology. And I think today the purpose of this conversation is to touch on that national tragedy that you just referenced, and allow all of us to take a step back and reflect on really the foundational tenets of the country and free speech and debate and open dialogue. And then, as part of this conversation and honoring a human life, right? Not ignoring other human lives, but this one in particular, um, understanding how it actually is similar to what we do, how we
Yeah.
operate, how most of you going through divorce and custody can apply kind of the premise of debate and dialogue and disagreement. And I think for me that it's just a really sad time to look at what Charlie represented for all humans from a speech and dialogue and debate perspective. You don't have to had agreed with anything that he said. Um, and the thing I appreciated about it is sort of what I appreciate about what we do is
Yeah.
that when he had an opinion, he had done research, he had a logical argument, but he also welcomed you to show up and bring your disagreement to the microphone. He wanted you to debate with him and persuade him. And I think he did a great job of being concise. Sure, he was opinionated. Sure, he had things that we disagree with or agree with. That is irrelevant. And I think ultimately, for me, it's really the pausing for a second and going, "Holy cow, we just watched somebody be executed over the things that we think are important," and that's conversation, negotiation, and debate.
Exactly. And that was a moment when I realized, wow, that's what we do once a week. We sit down and you and I, we debate. We don't always agree, but we do it peacefully. It's peaceful discourse. And
Yeah.
in doing so, and we've talked about this, I actually learn from you.
Yeah, I think it's kind of wild too because we were talking about it earlier. Even and I'm gonna use Charlie because that's what we're talking about. Even Charlie, you could see things, change slightly when it came to his perspective. As he learned, as he researched, he did have positions that moved, one way or another, and I would say for me, with us, it's sort of the same thing, right? You enlighten me on things that maybe I didn't consider, maybe I haven't really weighed, appropriately, and I do have some variance to where we started. And I think that's the power of open dialogue. I think that's the power of differing perspectives. And I think that's where people in divorce and custody can really kind of step back and understand that the person on the other side, the people involved are still humans, their spouses, siblings, fathers, mothers, all of the things that we believe are important, and that bottom line is humanity. And for me, it's really that debate versus domination kind of irony. It's I think we in divorce and custody scenarios could have a lot better outcomes in a lot more cases and scenarios
Mhm.
if we approached it with that in mind. So
As more of a debate versus a domination.
yeah, or debate is a lot like negotiation, right? The debate is I'm trying to persuade you to see something different. I'm trying to make you think about something that you didn't or see something that you haven't. And um, you may have to give up somewhere along the way or acquiesce somewhere to try to find the best outcome for all involved. And so often
A
we're so
lot like
busy.
mediation,
Yeah.
negotiation, ADR. Mhm.
Yeah, so often we're trying to win versus trying to agree. And there are obviously scenarios where no agreement's possible, but nevertheless, it doesn't turn into a violent outcome. And I think
Right.
that's where I'm struggling with what we do, right? You said it really well earlier, right? We are exposing ourselves as content creators, as conversationalists. We are being vulnerable because every time we come on here, right? I know that something I'm going to say somebody's going to disagree with. I know
Right.
you disagree with some of those things, but that doesn't stop me from making the case or sharing a perspective that I think people going through these situations need to understand and recognize. And hopefully, like it has with me, it helps them kind of change their opinion a little bit, open their eyes a little bit. And so it's a very unbelievable thing that we witnessed last week, and it's very sad. Um, and then kind of the other point to it is just again not dismissing other people who are murdered or whatever, but
No,
in this particular situation, we have such an affinity because there's a similar experience to what Charlie did to what we do. And as a
exactly.
parent, as a husband, as a father, as a son, as an uncle, it's just such a sad thing to have witnessed.
I can tell you so from the standpoint of watching his widow, Erica, speak. She did such a lovely job, such a courageous move, and so much class and grace. She stood next to his microphone from his podcast chair, and it really hit me. And I can tell you, it was like tears, waterfall, because I thought to myself, I get to sit in this chair in front of my microphone and speak my beliefs and my opinions. And we are content creators, just like Charlie, you know, and it is scary to think that somebody's life was taken because of his opinions and beliefs. Because, like I said, we do it all the time. And you and I don't agree, and people go into courtrooms and they don't agree. Attorneys will literally fight each other back and forth in courtrooms, and then you will find in the hallway they shake each other's hand because they know each other and they have, you know, maybe possibly a friendship or but there's no violence. There's no violence in the courtroom.
Yeah, and the reality is, and kind of the segue is that divorce is a human experience, right? And sort of like it's a it creates tension, it creates emotion, it creates discourse. But at the end of the day, we're all human. And to me, it's foundational to our country, even. Like if we were to take it to a country perspective, it's the basis for which we all kind of operate. First Amendment. You have a right to say whatever you want. You have a right to your opinion. I have a right to disagree with it. Hopefully, when you're speaking, I'm listening and trying to pick up something that you might say that I didn't think about. And that is the power in it. Um, and so I think that it's an opportunity for us to all kind of take a step back and reflect on where we are in our lives, where we are in our cases, where we are in our separations or custody or divorce battles, and think a little bit more broadly, a little bit more openly, and recognize that negotiation is free speech, debate is, agreement or disagreement. And at the end of the day, the outcome should never be, ever, under any circumstance, violence. And we talk about it on other episodes. And so to watch that violence be the result of what we hold so
Dearly.
sacred is just it hits all of us and it should. It definitely hits you and I, and that's why we're talking about it today.
Right. It's a very important conversation to have.
I think for me, it's I hope that we can all take a step back, appreciate the fact that communication and debate and openness can hopefully lead to better outcomes in all situations. In the cases we talk about, our own cases, but it generally in life. And I hope that the country can unify around that premise.
Right. I think a big thing that I think about right now is people are talking about a lot of hate being spread, and I feel like we need to send the message that you can disagree with someone. You don't have to hate them. I saw I saw on one of Charlie's podcasts, he said, I don't hate anyone, you know, and people can disagree, not hate. And I did find today on Instagram from someone that I follow a really great quote. And it's from I want to give her credit. It's from Informed Healing. And she is a trauma informed therapist, coach. She works with narcissistic abuse, and she does really great things. And what she said was, and it really hit me, it's something that I couldn't unsee. She said, hate is not someone else's fault, it's inside of you. Stop blaming others for your emotions. Stop playing the victim. Stop twisting words and misquotes to justify your rage.
I don't have anything to say other than perfectly put.
Yes. So, in closing, hopefully at some point our nation can be more unified and open to free speech, debate, and what we do, content creation with peaceful discourse.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I think that's why people should be listening to what we do. Right, we are bringing that debate, that disagreement, that perspective to the forefront. We are uncovering the challenges that both sides experience through a process that is tenuous, emotional, tragic in some cases, and so um, we just all have to kind of take a moment and get grounded. So,
Agreed. Okay. So, until next time, everyone,
thanks for listening.
thanks for listening. Be safe. See you soon.
Like, subscribe, follow, listen, do all the things. We hope to see you and hear you more as we work through this going forward.
And we want to hear more of your opinions and take more questions.
Thank you.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.